let's look at some boxing, because you are the boxing expert at WagerTalk.com. We've got a fight this Sunday to talk about, and I want to get your thoughts on Andy Ruiz Jr. and Luis Ortiz. How are you breaking this one down for some Sunday boxing?
Yeah, big heavyweight clash on Sunday, Steve. And, it's between two guys who, if they win here, potentially land themselves another big showdown spot with one of the champs sometime next year. In Ruiz's case, it would be a return to the top. He's already been, champion after his win against Anthony Joshua. But, we've also seen Ortiz, for years circle this heavyweight mountain as well, fought Deontay Wilder twice for the title. So it really is his last chance saloon here at a world title tilt, especially at 43 years of age. So in terms of how I see this fight going, I think Ortiz needs to start out cautious here. He still showed he has a ton of power in his most recent knockout of Charles Martin back in January. But he also showed some defensive vulnerabilities in that fight as well. I'm not going to overanalyze them too much. YouTube lit up after that fight because, people were like, oh, he's clearly on the slide now. But, it wasn't quite that clear cut because while both fighters went down in that fight twice, it was a back and forth war early on. There was a marked difference in how both men went down in that one. Ortiz went down with a kind of cuffing off balance shot behind the head early. He went down again with a straight jab. And Lennox Lewis actually made a great point in the commentary when he mentioned Ortiz's legs might be gone. He can still take a good shot upstairs, but downstairs might be a different matter. That wasn't the case with Charles Martin. He was completely roasted in that final knockdown. Ortiz hit him so hard, he didn't even know where he was. He was kind of, it was scary stuff. He was kind of hobbling around the corner of the ring. So, while Ortiz definitely has showed signs of age, signs of decline, understandable at the age he is, he also showed why he's so dangerous in there still. And Andy Ruiz, big favourite here, but he really needs to watch himself in this fight. He was hurt multiple times by a faded Chris Arreola. In his last fight, he went down hard as well. So, if Ruiz starts taking those same kind of big shots here against a guy who cracks much harder than Arreola and Luis Ortiz, it might be curtains for him in this one. So Ruiz is going off at a massive favourite here, minus 400. And whenever people talk about Ruiz as well, it's always, if he can do this, if he can kind of implement this, people always expecting him to turn into some kind of monster if he can check boxes A, B, and C, usually the weight issue. But, the fact of the matter is this is who, Andy Ruiz is. He's on his third trainer in as many years. And even more than the physical factors for Ruiz or the mental ones, Ruiz reminds me so much of another heavyweight and former opponent of his, Joseph Parker. In the respect, they're just quite happy to coast through fights. Go back to the Chris Arreola fight. Ruiz only looked truly dangerous when Arreola was kind of sticking it on him in that fight. Same in the first fight against Joshua. Took Joshua to actually put him on the canvas before, he actually woke up in that fight. Same against Parker over New Zealand. Same in the Joshua rematch. So these fighters like Parker, like Ruiz, they're so frustrating in the sense they've got so much talent. But, I could easily see guys like Joseph Parker refereeing a cricket game or something, very lackadaisical sometimes when they're going for the wins. So they are at their best when someone steps it up, puts it on them. Is that going to be Ortiz in this fight? I don't think so. As we mentioned at the start, I think Ortiz will have to look to be patient in there. He's the far superior counter-puncher of the two. So I believe he's just going to sit back, wait for that big shot. And I just think Ruiz will be content with that. Very rarely do we ever see him really look to step on the gas, and force the closure in a fight. So I'm going to take Ruiz to win this one by decision at plus 275. I think that's a massive price. Ortiz is getting on an age. Perhaps he fades down the stretch here. He hasn't fought many times since 2019, gets stopped late, but at plus 275, that's way too big of a number for me. So Andy Ruiz Jr. by decision this weekend, plus 275. That's something that's already on my card.
Kevin Dolan talking the main event Sunday night in LA. Heavyweight bout between Ortiz and Ruiz. He says take Ruiz by decision. Here's my question for you. Sounds like you like the over 9.5 in this 9.5 rounds in this fight. As you're going through it, I'm like, it sounds like he likes the over. Would you look in that direction in this fight as well? 9.5 rounds or under for this one.
I really like the odds, Teddy, plus 275. The problem with the over-under, and it's something that, I mentioned when I talked about Lennox Lewis, Luis Ortiz had 2 fights since 2019. So we're just, the first fight back, he knocked out the guy in 1 round. We seen the Charles Martin fight back in January. He kind of looked a bit shaky. So we're just not sure if he's the same, if the decline isn't that bad, he can definitely hang in this fight. He can win this fight. But if the decline is that bad, because Charles Martin is no world beater by any stage, he is a former world champion. But, anyone who follows boxing, that was one of the weakest world champions in the last few years. So it's just more of a question. There's too many question marks for me in terms of taking an over-under in this fight because, Luis Ortiz could have fell off a cliff by now for all we know in terms of his stamina. But at plus 275, I'm willing to take that risk because, we're getting compensated well.